Hey bache, today we are going to do the next OTAT session, which is investigations of the retina. Now I've already given you 5 questions, so let's dive straight into the question. Question number 1, which of the following is a non-invasive method to visualize retinal vasculature? Okay, so we have to see the retinal vessels and it has to be a non-invasive technique. Now FFA, we are giving the dye intravenously. So that means we are poking the patient. It's an invasive procedure. No, although we visualize the retinal vasculature, it is an invasive procedure. Now, autofluorescence, yes, we do visualize the retinal vasculature, but I'm not marking it as the answer. I'm looking if I have a better option. OCT gives you an idea about the various retinal layers, a histology like picture, whereas it does not show you the retinal vessels. So no. Now what is OCTA? OCTA is OCT angiography. Okay, so it gives you a brilliant idea about the vessels. This is one of the latest techniques that we have in our arsenal. So I'll explain why the answer is OCTA and not autofluorescence. Okay, so now this becomes a little tricky for you because yes, you do see the retinal vessels on autofluorescence, but we're not getting any additional information, or we're not looking for anything that's going to help in our diagnosis by looking at the vessels through autofluorescence. Okay, so always it's about the best option. So the best option here is OCTA. So what do you see on OCTA? Let's quickly take a look. Now OCTA, this is the way you get your output. Now look at this part of your picture, the eye. Now this shows my fundus. Okay, so this is the area of the retina that I'm going to investigate. And you see this raster, do you see this red line? So this red line indicates the area where our OCT is being taken, actual OCT is being taken. Okay, so along that area we are also going to also see the retinal vessels. So the retinal vessels will be visualized along 3 areas. Okay, so A, B and C. So A is a smaller area, B is a little wider, and C is the widest area that we are going to see. So that is exactly what you see on A, B and C. Okay, A, B and C. So you are seeing a very minute and with minute details there on A, B and C. Okay, so A is this smaller square area, 3 by 3 millimeter, and B is 6 by 6 millimeter area that you're seeing, and C is an 8 by 8 millimeter area you're seeing. Okay, and now what is the information we're getting on E, F and G? Okay, what's the information we get on E, F and G? So E shows you the superficial capillary plexus. Now the superficial capillary plexus is located around the ganglion cell layer and the RNFL. Now what you see in F is the deep capillary plexus, which is located along the outer nuclear layer and the outer plexiform. The inner nuclear layer and the outer plexiform layer. Okay, so deep capillary plexus is along the inner nuclear layer, OPL area, and this is ganglion cell layer, RNFL. Okay, and these two plexuses are derived from your central retinal artery, because you all know that it supplies the 2/3 of the retina. Which 2/3 of the retina? The inner 2/3 of the retina. Now what supplies the outer 1/3 of the retina? The outer 1/3 is supplied by the choriocapillaries. So by diffusion the blood enters. Okay, the nutrients and the oxygen, everything enters. So here if you see, F is showing the deep capillary plexus. Now what is this G? G represents the outer 1/3 of the retina, which is avascular. Why? Because it is being supplied by the choriocapillaries. So H represents the choriocapillary. So you're able to see the various layers of the retina. Okay, various layers of the retina. So in fact, you can see the capillaries to their minute details. So this is obviously a better answer compared to autofluorescence. So now do you understand why not autofluorescence? Because now I'll just show you the autofluorescence picture. Okay, so this is an autofluorescence picture where you can see the vessels. Of course I can see the vessels, but I do not derive any details or any diagnostic clues from these vessels. All right. Okay, so you understand this is a better answer for my question 1. All right. Okay, question 2. All of the following are false regarding fundus autofluorescence except. So that means we have to find out the true statement. Option A, fluorescein dye is injected intraarterially. Autofluorescence, there is no dye, and even if the dye is going to be injected as an FFA, it is always intravenous, never intra-arterially. First of all, no dye in AF. Okay, so it's a false statement. It's an in vitro imaging method for mapping fluorophores of the ocular fundus. Of course, it's a method for mapping fluorophores of the ocular fundus. Which is the fluorophore? The fluorophore is the lipofuscin, which is present in RPE. But it's not an in vitro imaging, it is an in vivo imaging. Okay, it's in vivo technique. So you know, the devil is in the details. So this is a false statement. The fovea appears dark as the AF is masked by luteal pigments. Of course, if you had seen normal AF pictures, the fovea appears dark, and that is because of the luteal pigments. Okay, the yellow pigments, the xanthophyll, the zeaxanthin pigments, which is a true statement. Let's also take a look at option D. Hyperfluorescence is seen in geographic atrophy due to dry ARMD. When I say geographic atrophy, which layer is atrophied? The RPE is atrophied. So if the RPE is atrophied, there is no lipofuscin only. So when there is no lipofuscin, where is the question of fluorescence? And now where is the question of hyperfluorescence? No, you will have hypofluorescence. In fact, that means it will look dark on autofluorescence. So we'll take a look. So you see this picture. This picture shows you geographic atrophy. Okay, this is geographic atrophy. So you see this yellowish areas, okay, in the macula. So all these are areas of geographic atrophy due to dry ARMD. So that is the complication of dry ARMD. So corresponding picture, you're seeing the fundus autofluorescence. Now why am I saying there is autofluorescence? Because you see the optic disc is pitch black, there is the vessels are pitch black, and you have a background illuminated area, and you can see there is a black area because there is no RPE and therefore no lipofuscin in this area. So it's a hypofluorescent area. Is that clear? Okay, so I hope you've understood question number 2. All right, so now we move to question 3. All of the following may be visualized on fundus fluorescein angiography except retinal vessels. Yes. Choroidal vessels, you might think ICG angiography. ICG angiography is exclusively for choroidal, but on FFA also you can see choroidal vessels. Foveal avascular zone, in fact, yes, you remember diabetic retinopathy OTAT session where we discussed about foveal avascular zone and FFA to quantify it. So yes. Vitreomacular traction, no, you have no idea, you don't get any idea about it on FFA. And maybe you can see the cystoid macular edema, the dye leak, but you don't see the traction as such. So if you have to see this, OCT is the investigation of choice. For seeing vitreomacular traction, OCT is the investigation of choice. All right. Okay, so we go to see how FFA looks like. So in FFA, you can see the artery, which is a little thinner, the vein, which is a little thicker, Then you get to see the various capillaries, and all the capillaries are ending here. So I've got a capillary free zone which is called as foveal avascular zone. Now what is a normal diameter, average diameter of FAZ? I want you to mention this in the comments. Now what about this choroidal vessel? Do you see this blotchy appearance in the background between the vessels everywhere? You know, everywhere you see this blotchy background. That blotchy background is actually because of the choroid, the choriocapillaries. Okay, that is the choroidal vessel. Okay, in fact, in the initial few seconds of your FFA, you get what is called as a pre-arterial blush or a choroidal blush. So I'll talk about that maybe for the ophthalm residents in another FFA video. For you, bache, this is more than enough. Okay, now let's move on to see how to differentiate between FFA and FAF, that is autofluorescence. See here, you can see the dye. Okay, you can see the dye in the vessel, and if at all there's a leakage of the dye, you'll be able to see all that if there's any vascular anomaly. But here, you're seeing the vessel pitch black. Okay, but you won't be able to see any other anomaly on the vessel unless maybe some vein dilatation and all that. But venous dilatation we wouldn't be doing in autofluorescence. Okay, see the optic disc is pitch black, the vessels are pitch black. Yes, now coming to this foveal area. See, the foveal area is pitch black because the background illumination that you see here, the fluorescence that you see here, is masked by the lutein pigments. There is so much of xanthophyll here, so much of zeaxanthin here that it blocks the fluorescence. Is that clear? You remember the options in question number 1? There was a true option. Okay, so have you understood how to differentiate? So when you see both the pictures together, it makes sense. So now you'll never forget how a fluorescein angiography will look like and how an autofluorescence picture looks like. All right, guys, just keep a visual memory of this. Okay, question number 4. A 60-year-old patient has vision of hand movements, oh my god, in his right eye. Okay. Anterior segment exam shows a mature cataract. Which investigation needs to be performed to assess his posterior segment? So what has happened is, okay, let's say this is the cornea, the iris, and this is the lens. Okay, and we have the retina behind. Okay, so that's the macula, that little depression, the foveola. Okay, so we have a mature cataract, that means it's completely opaque. So my investigation basically to visualize the posterior segment has to pass through this opaque thing and visualize something behind. Okay, so when I say posterior segment, anything behind the posterior capsule of lens. Okay, beyond that, that is called posterior segment. All right, do you understand? So OCT needs a clear media. Okay, this requires a clear media. So when I say media, it refers to all the structures through which light has to pass. So all this is the media. FFA, again I need a clear media. I can't do it with a mature cataract. I can't see what's behind. Ultrasound biomicroscopy is only to examine the anterior segment. Okay, so this is only for the anterior segment. So what is left? Ultrasound. Okay, so now my question to you is, what is the frequency of the normal ocular ultrasound and what is the frequency of UBM? Okay, so this is homework for you and you're going to give it in the comment section, as well as your feedback on the OTAT sessions that we've been doing, so that I can give you better content. Okay, because we always have to strive to improve, otherwise we rot. Okay, question number 5. Name the investigation and label the retinal layer marked on the image. Okay, if you attended the previous OTAT on bullseye maculopathy, I had taught you. So I've exactly marked that particular layer. Okay, so it's this layer that we're talking about, this blackish area, which is ONL, outer nuclear layer. So what does outer nuclear contain? It contains the cell body and along with your nuclei, of which cells? The rods and cones, the photoreceptors. Okay, so now my next question to you is, what is this black area? Do you see that little black area? Which layer is this? Now go ahead and give me your answer in the comment section. All right, I hope you've been enjoying the OTAT sessions. Just as I have been enjoying teaching you all, and I just hope that I have been spreading of the love just as I've been claiming and blowing my own trumpet that I keep spreading of the love. Okay, so the next session, OTAT session, is going to be on investigations of the retina again, because what we've been doing today was just the structural investigation. So tomorrow we would be doing the functional part. Okay, so functional investigations, and where would the questions be posted? As always, on my Facebook group, Facebook page, my Insta channel, and also on the Telegram group. So the Telegram group, what it is, I will put it in the description on the video, so you can follow me there, and please participate so that you know you are learning. See, learning has to be an active learning. Okay, so see you guys. God bless you all, bache. Love you.